Welcome to People Like You. From childhood, today's guest had a warped view of love and identity. Not understanding how to heal from her wounds, she spent years searching for the perfect love. Denise Bridges, founder of Christian music band Child of Mercy, is here with us today to share a story of God's mercy in a life of brokenness. Don't go away.
I remember just sitting down and just breaking down, and just telling God, I want what they have. I want that hope. I'm a mess, and I want to give it all to you right now. I don't even know how to change anything. I'm all jacked up, but here, just take it. I'm done.
Welcome back. Denise Bridges, founder of the Christian band Child of Mercy, is here today to talk about God's mercy in her own life and how God's perfect love rescued her from a life of brokenness. I sure appreciate you being here with us today.
Oh, I'm excited to be here.
Well, let's start on the fact that you are a recording artist.
Yes, recording artist, worship leader, singer-songwriter, and speaker.
And so you've always loved music.
Yeah, music has always been a huge part of my life. Music is healing, and it just brings healing to the soul. So it's always been very important all my life.
I completely concur with you on that. When did you, so you said all your life, so when did your ministry begin?
The ministry didn't begin until about 2006. 2004, God put this name Child of Mercy in my heart.
I love the name.
Yeah. Because I'm a child of mercy and just everything that I've been through. And so it took a couple years for everything to finally come around, the guys in my band and all that. So it started as just pretty much the band Child of Mercy, and then it kind of grew from there into speaking and things like that.
You were a model first, which I can totally see.
Oh, wow.
Is that what you did first?
I did. I did that for a period of like 7 or 8 years. And it's funny because if I can go back a little further just to kind of share how I got to that point. For me, in my childhood, my self-image was not the greatest. I had a false sense of identity, and I saw failed love over and over again. And so my parents divorced. I was raped when I was 15. So a lot of things that kind of really just traumatic things in my life. And so I remember at the age of like 21, I finally kind of gave up on love because I was kind of seeking after love and I wasn't finding the kind of love that I felt like I needed. So I just decided I'm going to focus on my self-image, and I did whatever I needed to do to just kind of like make myself look more beautiful, just crazy workout schedule. I felt a void, and it's almost like I felt like I had to prove something to everyone, like I am worthy,
or to maybe even yourself.
To myself. Yeah. And so that's pretty much why I kind of sought that out. And I tell you, I felt a little bit of this acceptance for a little bit of time, I should say. But yeah, I think my motives going into it were probably not right.
Right.
Yeah.
But you look perfect on the outside. Is that the deal? And on the inside?
I was trying to look perfect on the outside, yes. Trying really hard.
So how did that affect you, though?
You know what? Not in a good way, because what it did is it kind of left me just more empty, because I finally achieved this goal that I had of just looking really good and modeling and getting praise or whatever. And then, but it actually left me just totally like more empty, because there was this void inside of me and I was trying to fill it, and it's like nothing was good enough. Like I wanted more, and I got that. That wasn't, now I want this, and I want that. And it was just this never ending just emptiness that I could not fill. It was a terrible bondage. I actually developed a really terrible eating disorder, bulimia. And so
I was wondering.
Just to stay thin. And it was just terrible. It was a crazy workout routine, 7 days a week, 2 times a day. I was just kind of lost during those years of my life. I didn't really have a mentor or anybody to talk to. And so I was just trying to deal with life my own way and just try to make myself happy the best way that I knew how. But it just left me super empty.
So is that when music came in?
Music came in not until after I fell. So there's kind of some stuff that before that happened,
All right.
and that's kind of more of my testimony.
Which we'll get into after the break.
Perfect.
You
yes.
have a CD.
Yes.
You want to tell us about it? And then a new release.
Yes, a new single.
Yes, we're going to hear some of that. A little. I love the words of that.
Thank you.
The same power
Totally inspired
that raised Christ
from the dead
is within me.
Yes, is running through our veins.
Running through our veins.
Right.
And then you talked about, and you talk about got to get back up and run.
Right. That's right.
Something was going on in your life that caused you to need to get up and run.
Yes.
Back towards Christ.
Yes, and I'd say I think that we all kind of get discouraged and beaten down, and yes, we definitely need that encouragement that we need to get back up. We were made to win.
Psalms 139.
I love that psalm. I love that psalm. That's the psalm that we all need to find our identity in, right? That we were, we were formed in our mother's womb. Yeah. He knew us before, and I love that psalm.
So how do we get a hold of your CD, though? Let's go ahead and...
all of our music is at www.childofmercy.com. So you can go on the website to find all that.
And we'll provide that again later on in the program. More with Denise when we return, so don't go away.
I came to a point where I was completely just jacked up on the inside and empty and depressed and, hopeless. And God began to reveal himself to me. And I couldn't resist any longer. And so then I surrendered.
We're back with Denise Bridges, founder of Christian band Child of Mercy. So Denise, when we opened the program, we talked about the fact that you had a warped sense of love. Mm-hmm. Kind of describe that to me.
When I was growing up, I saw a lot of failed love. And so it's funny because as a child, my favorite movie was Cinderella. And that movie after watching it, I thought, man, that's what I need. That's the missing link in my life is my Prince Charming. And I felt like there was such a deep need just to be loved that I just assumed that, my Prince Charming would fill that need. Find it there, and I really had a warped sense. I really believed that this whole infatuation, the feelings and the emotions and that high that you get on when that newness. I believed as a young girl that was love, and that would continue on just forever and ever, be happily ever after kind of thing, and I thought, man, I just need to find that. Yeah. And so as a child or even as a teenager, all through those years, I was looking for love, in all the wrong places. And it's funny because my mom remarried after the divorce, and so I have a stepdad, and we went to church 3 times a week, and I was actually saved at the age of 6 years old. I knelt down with my mom and asked Jesus in my heart. Yes. But because I saw the failed love, I don't know, I just didn't know that kind of love came from God. And so I was on this search, and God was after me. I mean, year after year, I'd go to church camp every year with all, the youth, and that message would come up that final night, and then the song, I Surrender All. And I was like, this heaviness just came over me, and God just drawing me and just calling me to go forward, just let it go, just surrender. And I remember that happening time and time again, and I just resisted with tears, And so, I had a warped view of love. Yeah. It's just, I was just looking in all the wrong places, and then, like I said, I focused on my identity, thinking that was going to bring some kind of fill that void.
But there are a lot of young women. They've probably gone through similar situations, parents divorced, but you were raped.
Yeah.
And where did that come from?
Yeah, I was 15, and it was with an older, he was 18, and we had just met, and so it was pretty traumatic.
And you're thinking maybe Prince Charming, and it was anything
but.
Right,
exactly. Yeah. That was the biggest thing, and I was still, I wanted to, I wasn't really following the Lord at that time in my life, but I wanted to at least save myself from my Prince Charming, and so it's just kind of like, that was a big traumatic deal.
Very
and just kind of ripped that from me, and then just kind of, I never talked to him again after that.
So use some adjectives to describe where you were at the worst point.
Desperate, lonely, empty, depressed, hopeless. Yeah, hopeless.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's no hope.
So, what did you do? What happened? I mean,
Well, like I said,
that's not the woman I see before me today.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I turned to the modeling, and it was after or during that time that God began to get my attention again. I came to a point where I was completely just jacked up on the inside and empty and depressed and, hopeless. And God began to reveal himself to me. And I couldn't resist any longer. And so then I surrendered almost 20 years ago.
Really? Okay. Was it, for some people, I know someone who that happened in prison. Someone else walked down the aisle. When did it happen for you?
Yeah, it was really interesting. I was at a baseball game. It wasn't at the baseball game, but I was there and I heard this music kind of going on kind of far away.
Yes.
So I walked over and they were having like outdoor church at the park. And I was just sitting there and I was watching all these people just raising their hands and they were crying and worshiping God. And I remember just sitting down and just breaking down, and just telling God, I want what they have. I want that hope. I'm a mess and I want to give it all to you right now. I don't even know how to change anything. I'm all jacked up, but here, just take it. I'm done. And it was at that moment that this peace and this love came over me. I can't even explain it. Just like goosebumps all over the body, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was just like, I realized it was God that I was searching for and I didn't even know it. And so it completely turned me around, like completely.
Like that?
Like that. I mean, it was like I was loved and I was accepted.
You wrote a song called You Found Me.
Yes. That's really the song I wrote that goes with my testimony about the lost sheep.
Yeah.
And how God just came and looking for me when I wasn't looking, right? I wasn't lovable, but he loved me. So yeah, that was a
song that came out of that.
Totally, yeah.
How does the song close?
It really focuses on what Jesus did on the cross. The message of the song is just that, God, you found me. He finds us. We're not out on a search for God. He comes and he finds us where we're at. Yeah. And usually it's when we're not in a good place, right?
You know what I love about your music is passion. Yeah. I can feel it. I can feel that when you sing, these aren't just words.
Right.
This is life.
Yeah.
So we get to experience some of that when we come back.
Yeah.
Right? So
sounds good.
Don't go away.
You gotta get back up. Get back up and run, run, run. You gotta run.
Welcome back. We're with Denise Bridges. And Denise, I just appreciate you being so open and raw with us today and sharing just so much of your life because many people would think, okay, life is perfect now, but it isn't always.
No, it's not at all perfect.
You're in a walk, you're down a path,
yeah.
and things do happen.
Right.
For instance,
yes,
your life actually 5 years later got worse.
Yeah. After I surrendered to God and I was just a completely different person, I was on fire. And I was in the church and I was a leader, leading a youth group. And some hard things came into my life, some hard trials. And you know what? I didn't really know how to deal with them. I didn't want to deal with them and kind of reverted back to that little girl again where I would just suppress it and push it back and act like, like this is not happening. And what I used to do is just run to different vices. And that's how I think I've survived on my own all these years. Yeah. Just running to vices and pushing it back like it's not there. And so at that point, rather than, going to God and allowing him to just walk me through it, which I did for a time, but then I lost hope.
Right.
I began to spiral down and I ended up having an affair and I got pregnant. So that was a huge ooh, wow, but God is so good because, he restored, I cried out to him.
Yes.
He restored me. There was still a lot of brokenness, and there still is a lot of brokenness in my life that God is trying to heal. God's love and mercy just like swooped me up and forgave me and gave me hope. And when I felt like I just ruined everything, you know, I said, God, there's no future for me. There's nothing. And he gave me that scripture in Ecclesiastes where it says, he makes everything beautiful in its time.
Yes.
And that's my life verse. And I said, Lord, I don't know how you can make this beautiful, because there was a lot of hurt. I did a lot of damage. But through the years, God has truly restored a lot of things in my life. And that's how the whole Child of Mercy ministry began. I am a Child of Mercy. And he's done amazing things through that, and allows me to go and minister to people who are hurting and broken, and just give them hope, you know, that God can do miracles in his time, you know.
And is that what this song is about? We get to hear a bit of your music today.
Yes.
I so have enjoyed it, but the song we're going to hear is called Run.
Run, yes. Run comes from Hebrews 1, where it says, seeing we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside everything that hinders and the sin that so easily besets. God continues to encourage me, you know, to get back up and run, even when I feel like I don't want to, you know, I'm done.
Yeah.
And God's like, you're not done. You're going to make it.
Yeah, in the world
You
there's
know?
going to be trials. It's just that now you have somebody with
Right.
you, and you know that you're not alone.
Exactly. I mean, it's everything, right?
So we get to enjoy this. This is Denise Bridges and Child of Mercy.
Look in your eyes, there was a fire, a flame that once burned bright. Now you're weary and you're tired, you're cold, you lost your will to fight. You've forgotten who you are, you were made to win. Get back up and run. Don't lose your faith, keep pressing on. You gotta get back up and run. In your heart there's desire, but this life has weighed you down. Lift your head
I just love your words there, that when we realize the power that raised Christ from the dead is running through our veins,
Right.
we do need to get up and run.
Right. With his power, we can do all things, right? I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. So,
What
yeah.
do you say to someone who's struggling now with, wanting to feel loved and it isn't there? What do you say?
It took me the longest time to realize that, I had unrealistic expectations in people to meet a need that only God can meet, to love me the way that I need to be loved. Only God can truly, fully do that perfectly. And I think that it's so easy to look to other people to fill that need. And you know what? They're always going to fail us because they're not perfect. And so I would say, don't put your hope in people or what people have told you over the years about who you are, because we need to find our identity in Christ and what he says we are. And so I think that's the hardest thing when we live in a world that tells us, what we need to look like or what we need to be, successful, all these things. And it's just hard because if we're not drawing close to God and getting our identity needs met through him, it's going to just throw us off. So,
And after all, we are a child of God. We're a child of mercy.
right, we're all children of mercy. That's so true.
Thanks for being with us, Denise.
Sure.
Appreciate it. For more information about Denise's band, Child of Mercy, visit childofmercy.com. For more information about Denise Bridges or to find out how she can speak at your event, visit denisebridges.com or ktln.tv. Remember that KTLN is a donor-supported ministry, and programs like this one are made possible through your support. Thanks for being with us, and join us again next week.